Hello and welcome to Frags and Beer Radio. Let me turn this down real quick here. I just wanted to make sure my sound was still working. Everything seems to be good. I'm going to double check that sound check for you guys. Anyway, Frags and Beer Radio Live. This is the show where I talk to you about the positive things that are going on in the geek sphere, whether it be comic books or gaming, movies, cool TV shows, interesting music. I've said it before, and eventually I'll stop saying it anyway. This show used to do Frags and Beer Radio, and we would talk about just nerd things. Sometimes we talk about controversies, a lot of negativity sometimes, or things that really irritated us. And I listened to a podcast between Peter Simeti and Captain Frugal. And check out Captain Frugal's YouTube channel. Also check out Alterna's YouTube channel, Alterna Comics, for Peter Simeti stuff. But anyway, they talk more about positivity. The things that could help is positivity, sharing the things that we enjoy in geekdom rather than shitting on the things that are problems or the things that we don't like. So, pardon me. So that's what I wanted to do. Bring back Frags and Beer Radio Live. Talk about, my week's pull list, the comics that I'm enjoying, the games that I'm liking, the TV shows and the movies that I've seen, the positive stuff. We're going to probably still talk about some negative things from time to time. You can't help that when you sort of cover popular culture and the events that are going on. But I'm going to try to avoid the overly dramatic stuff. So anyway, so I like to start the show out with some of the news for the week or things that I've seen, things that I've liked or that are new to me. One of the things that I did see, actually I can't say see, I listened to it yesterday. A buddy of mine was listening to, at work, he was listening to, and I didn't know it at the time, pardon me, listening to the new Weezer cover album. Had no idea that's what he was listening to because the song was Sweet Dreams. And it sounded like freaking Annie Lennox. So I was like, so the whole time I thought he was listening to Annie Lennox, Sweet Dreams, and turns out it was Weezer. And then they continue with the other songs. I have to say the Weezer's cover album is fantastic. They did justice to every song on it. They didn't try to overly modernize them. They didn't try to put their own twist on them. They didn't try to make these songs anything more than what they were. And they did, I mean, this is a serious homage. I would call it more an homage album than a cover album. So I wanted to make sure that I told you guys about that because it's great, especially if you like, it's all 80s and 90s music, some of the songs on the list, and a couple older ones I want to say, because they had Take On Me, Happy Together, Mr. Blue Sky, No Scrubs. They did of course they did a little bit different on No Scrubs, obviously, because they're a rock band rather than a R&B group. Toto's Africa they covered, which you guys have probably heard before because they actually released that a while back. Fantastic covers of all these songs. So definitely check it out. It's great music, really good time. You can actually listen to, I think you can listen to parts of it on, I'm looking at an NPR. It was the first thing that came up just so I could see the song list. I could remember some of the songs, but not all of them we listened to yesterday. Wonderful album, great music. Check it out, especially if you love 80s and 90s music and a couple of older tunes. So good stuff to look at there. The other thing that is new for me this week, we watched the first episode of Night Fight. It's on History, and it premiered after Vikings, which we also watched. It's a great show. I wasn't sure what I would think of it because I've seen shows where they tried to bring back like they had that jousting show for a while, and they try to bring in these shows where they do recreations, so to speak, of fighting techniques, medieval combat, things like that. But this one, like, these guys were balls out beating the crap out of each other with medieval weapons. Now, of course, the axes were blunted, the swords were blunted, but they were swinging two-handed maces at each other, and they were in full armor, sometimes chainmail or padded armor. They had plate mail and helmets and all the gear, but still, they were hitting each other in the head and the face with these blunted axes and with these maces, and catching, a couple guys were getting hit in the back and hit in the hip. Full contact combat. There was a little bit of over dramatization with the announcers and with the way they did everything. You can tell it's like their first season. Every show that's like this. They have a first season where you can tell they're under budget because nobody knows how good it's going to be. So there's no fluff. There's no anything special. It's just very bare bones. And that's how this was. Like, there is no fluff to this show. It's literally, like, I want to say how many people competed? Six competitors and the 3 announcers, and that's it. Like, there was no audience. There was no other people watching. There were some armorers in the back when they had a segment where they had to, like, repair their armor, and they were making sure their armor was good enough to go back out into the list. But that's it. So very bare bones, but an entertaining show. I think it's worth a watch if you guys enjoy medieval combat, if you're that kind of geek, or you like armor, you like people beating the crap out of each other. Worth a watch. So check out Night Fight on History Channel. Like I said, it's on Wednesday nights after Vikings. So worth a watch. I think you guys would enjoy it if that's your deal, that's your thing. And that's it for TV. Nothing much new really going on in the TV sphere. I'm sad to announce that, you know, like I said, Vikings, love the show. Next season, I believe, is the last season of Vikings, but I do hear there's a spin-off on the way, which could be interesting. I've really enjoyed Vikings. I hope they do it better. Or not better. I hope they do the spin-off as well as the current run of Vikings. It's really enjoyable. On that same vein, though, I did see the promo, and some of you guys may know this, but Mark Hamill is going to be in the Knights Templar show. And I'm drawing a blank on the name of the show. What is it? I can't remember the name. Nightfall. Okay, so Nightfall is coming back. The show that was sort of not really a spin-off of Vikings, but along the same vein. You know, that you had Vikings, obviously about Vikings, and Nightfall was a History Channel show to sort of dramatize the life of the Knights Templar. The first season was okay. My wife and I enjoyed it. We watched it. You know, it wasn't bad enough that we didn't watch it, or that we didn't want to watch it. We wanted to watch it, but it wasn't as good as Vikings. I was a little disappointed in that aspect. Like, I was looking for a show as good as Vikings, but about the Knights Templar and the Crusades, and it wasn't quite that. But Mark Hamill is going to be on it next season. The promo that showed him looks really cool. Looks like he's, you know, just this grizzled old knight, this grizzled old veteran that's going to be joining the cast, and looks fantastic. So keep your eyes out for that if you're into those History Channel drama shows, those sort of historical fiction, so to speak. So on to comic books. This is going to be a short show. I didn't have a big pull list this week. There's not a ton of news to talk about this week, but I did want to get something out there for you guys. So we may be looking at like a 15-minute show, maybe a little longer. But I did want to bring this up. Alternate Comics is really coming into their own over the last couple of years. I discovered them just a few years ago. Not, you know, I can't even remember. Was it 2014? Maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I discovered Alternate Comics. I talked about them last week or the week before anyway. So if you haven't checked them out, check out Alterna. They're an indie comic company. They sort of started along the same vein that Image did, but rather than, you know, Image was started by Jim Lee and McFarlane, that left the major publishers and went and started Image as a creator-owned sort of endeavor, where, you know, people would come to them and get their stuff published, but they would retain ownership of everything, which was a great model for the artists and creators. I love that model, and Alterna sort of carried that on as well, but it's mostly Peter himself that started Alterna as an option for indie publishers to get their books published. And the people still retain their rights and everything, but Alterna handles the majority of the publishing stuff. They get them out there, they ship them, they do the advertising, they do all that stuff, so these guys can sit back and write and create. One of the things that Peter talks about a lot is that the industry struggles because the way distribution works, and Diamond being the only distributor and the way Diamond operates, it's not always conducive to helping businesses or helping small press. It's not very good for indie publishers, and it's not good for small shops. They have some restrictions and some things that they do that are not beneficial to the smaller the little guy. They just don't have the little guy. So Peter was saying, and he's been saying this for a while, that needs to change. The distribution model needs to change, but it's very difficult to get. You know, while it's relatively easy, I've published 2 books now on my own through Amazon. You can do it through Ingram Spark. There are multiple ways to publish your own novels and graphic novels, and even, you know, you can do comic books through Amazon, but it's not as easy as it is to get it published by somebody else or get it published through Alterna. So what he's talking about, and if you go to alterna.com and then look under printing, not Alterna, alternacomics.com, and then look under printing, you'll see they're starting this printing partnership program that he talked about. There's actually a YouTube video. So if you look at Alterna's Twitter page, Peter links a YouTube video where he explains how this system is meant to work. But really what he's looking for is people, self-publishers and small indie creators, he says, publishers that would like to offer convention exclusive, and creators who want to print less than 5,000 copies of your comic. So if you fall into that group, a small publisher, you want less than 5,000 copies, or you want to be able to print exclusives for conventions. Who it's not for, creators who are looking for distribution and publishing. This is just to be printed. This is not going to put you under Alterna's logo. This is not going to get you in their distribution or anything. This is just for you. They're not going to do any of the other work for you. They're just going to get it printed. Basically what he's doing is he has a line on newsprint, a newsprint printer that he uses, and he wants to make that available to smaller press who can't necessarily get in on that like he has, because he has enough books going out every month that he can afford to do that. So publishers and creators who have distribution or deadlines that need to be met, if you're a creator who wants to print more than 5,000 comics, this program's not for you. And really what he's trying to do is to help you, if you're small print, get your book out there, get it printed for you at a reasonable price. That way you don't have to go through Amazon. You can publish it yourself. You can put your own imprint on it and things like that. So check it out if you're interested in, if you're working on an indie comic, you're working on a small press comic, take a look at that. Newsprint, I love it. Keeps the price down. Excuse me, you know, I'm buying Alterna comics for $1.50 where most new comics are $3.99. I can buy almost 3 Alterna comics for the price of a standard, you know, DC or Marvel or Image issue. So I really like that. I think if you're just getting started, especially, you're indie, I know that. I'm trying to sell books all my own without a publishing imprint. The lower your price point is, the better, the more you're going to sell, but you also still need to make money. Obviously, if this is what you want to do for a living. So this is a good program for you if that's what you're looking for, because you can keep your price point down. You can get people interested. People are more willing to pick up a new book from an unknown publisher if the price point's low. They're not going to buy a $4 comic from somebody they've never heard of, because you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. So it's really good for that. Excuse me, very thirsty. So on the vein of comic books, and we're going to wrap the show up talking about this particular comic, I showed you issue 6 last week of Isola Comics. Let me lower this down here so I can see what I'm talking about. So I showed you issue 6 of Isola Comic. And the art is fantastic. The art is beautiful. So I saw an ad for this in the back of another book, and I called my comic guy and I said, I want to try this book out. Unfortunately, it was already on issue 6. So I just told him, I said, go ahead and get me the trade paperback. You know what? I want to talk about this last. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. No wonder I forgot. So, my bad. My comic guy gets free books too. From Marvel, DC, from Image, from all kinds of different publishers. He gets free books, and he'll usually throw them my way just to see if I might find something I'd be interested in. So this week, the free books that I got were The Avengers. Can you see that? Earth's Mightiest Heroes, The Avengers. And this is I don't know, The Woman Who Punched a Dragon, Iron Fist, 1 million BC. So I guess in 1 million BC, there was an Iron Fist, but people weren't around in 1 million BC. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I didn't really read the book because I don't know what the hell's going on anyway with Avengers. But it looks like they're saying this Kunlun existed in 1 million BC. Yeah, 1 million years ago. And the art is okay. It's not terrible, but it's not... You know, some of the panels are decent. Other panels are kind of... well, I mean... This advertisement that makes my heart hurt right there. That just screams I'm trying to sell. Like, everything has to be a #1 comic creating it. It just makes my heart hurt. They're just banking on the movie just to sell you a comic book. It's probably going to be shit. But yeah, see, like the art in these panels, this is from Marvel. This is Avenger art, and my light, I'm sorry that my light is glaring on it. But there's your Avengers art from Marvel Comics. So anyway, I guess Kunlun was around 1 million BC. People lived there. I don't know where they came from because there weren't people. There was a gorilla, giant crystal gorilla. I don't know. It looks like she has a purple. Looks like she had a purple soul, or the purple Infinity Stone. Turned the gorilla into a purple crystal and then blew him up. And yeah, I don't know. This is weird. I don't get it. I don't know why people were around 1 million BC, but I guess they were. The other one he picked up for free was this Superior Spider-Man. I heard Superior Spider-Man was coming back. Issue #2. I guess this is a variant edition. I don't know. It's got Guardians of the Galaxy on the cover. The art in this one is better. Who's the artist on this? I don't recognize Mike Hawthorne. I don't recognize the penciler, but it is better than that Avenger art. Let me see. There was a panel in here that was really good, but it is Superior Spider-Man. Now I'm not sure. Is this Superior Spider-Man the Doc Ock Spider-Man, or is it Peter? Like, has Peter decided to go extreme again with the? Well, now I can't find the panel that was good. Maybe there wasn't one, and maybe I'm just imagining it. But anyway, he's fighting this dude that looks sort of like Apocalypse. Yeah, I mean that's not terrible art. It really isn't. It's better than that Avengers art. There we go. I'm trying to get the glare of the light. It's from my monitor. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I haven't really cared. But like I said, my guy, he throws me these free books, and I take a look at them. I'll show you any, in case something stands out, you know, there might be something worth looking at. I really don't know. I do know at the end of this, Superior Spider-Man becomes the cosmic powered Superior Spider-Man, if you can see that. I don't know. But, yeah, that's where Superior Spider-Man's back. And thankfully it's not being written by Dan Slott, but still, who knows. So back to Azola. This book is fantastic. So I got the first trade paperback of Azola, and you can see the cover art. Really good. Really well. Like this art, I'm afraid that the glare off the screen is really going to ruin this for you, but if you can see the art in this book, it's very good. It's really very good. It's very unique. The artist's name is there's actually a team, Carl Kerschel, and I said it last time, and that's not actually their name. So MSASSYK. It's actually I read this, is in the back. Yeah, Michelle and last name is Assarasakkorn. So I'm not going to try to butcher that. But those are your artists on this book. It's fantastic. The style is very unique. I don't think I have seen another book drawn like this one, which is great because so many times you run it, especially if you buy as many comic books as I do, you run into so many that become indistinguishable from the others. The art style, everybody seems to be copying everybody else. It all seems very generic. It's always difficult to find a unique art style. This one is very unique. It's very good. I love the art so far. It's been a beautiful book to look at. The world building in this one, like Rose, I talked about world building being very important because this is a fantasy comic. So it's not set in the real world, whereas, you know, Spider-Man doesn't have to do a ton of world building. Of course, they have to do the world building in the sense that they have to add superheroes to our world, but they don't have to recreate an entire city. They just set their stuff in New York or Chicago or wherever. Where here, they have to create the entire world. The world's history, the world's religions, the world's, you know, the different races and the different societies and cultures and everything. They have to create that when they write these types of books. And the more depth they give those things, the more interesting these books, these fantasy books tend to be. And I read a ton of fantasy. I mean, you can see part of my collection back there, but you can't even see the other 3 bookcases that are on this wall, you know, and I read a lot of fantasy books, and world building is so important to making a fantasy book one that you'll want to continue to read, one that you'll want to come back to. You know, if the world sucks, you want to read more books in that world. Like, the story has to be so amazing if the world building sucks, because you want to come back. You want your readers to want to come back to your world and revisit it and read about the characters. So this one does a fantastic job of world building. The art's really good, and the story so far has been really intriguing. Starts out with a girl and a tiger. The girl is clearly a soldier or a knight, a warrior at the very beginning, and she's wearing armor, carrying weapons. At first you can't tell if the tiger is a companion or a pet, or maybe in this world, you know, they are some sort of psychic bond like we've seen in other fantasy books. So I don't want to give anything away. I think you guys should pick up Azola and read it. But they do a great job. The writer does a great job. And let me get the writer's name. I'll just say the writer, Brendan Fletcher. He does a great job of delivering just enough of the story in small pieces to keep you wanting more. Like, he'll give you a little bit, and then you'll read more, and you're like, okay, I want to know more about what's going on. Who is this tiger? What is this tiger to this person? Because clearly early on, the soldier, the knight, she is trying to protect the tiger, and very deferential. She bows to the tiger and apologizes for speaking out of turn, things like that. So you're like, who is this tiger? And then he gives you a little more and a little more and a little more. And he does a great job of delivering the story in such a way that you keep wanting to turn the page because you don't have enough yet. So what's next, and what's next, and what's next? So fantastic job with the writing and the pacing in this book. This is probably one of the best books in my pull list. I'll put it right up there with Rose, which unfortunately the next issue of Rose is the last one, at least for now. The writer, she says that there are plans for more, but there's no definitive like timeline, or, you know, we're going to see more in 6 months or 8 months. And hold on, my computer is rattling, but I don't know if that's my computer. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, love it, Zola. Pick it up, take a look at it, read it. You can get the trade paperback chapter 1, which is issues 1 through 5. And then issue 6 just came out, so that's this month's issue. You should still be able to pick it up at your local store. Have them order you 1 through 5. Well worth the read, well worth the money. I want to say that the price point on this trade was only $10, which is actually really good for a trade. I've seen a lot of trades go for as much as $20. So 5 issues of comics for $10 is actually a really good deal. And then the regular cover price, I think it's $3.99. Yeah, $3.99 on the rest of them. So when you're talking $4 an issue, if you bought all 5 of them, obviously you would have paid $20, and instead you can get it for 10. So pick up chapter 1, trade paperback. Pick up issue 6 and read them. I think you'll enjoy them. Well worth the money. And hopefully this one continues for a while. I'd love to see where this story goes, and I'm hoping we get more, because I think this is going to be one of those series where I'm really going to enjoy it, and then they're gonna finish the story and hopefully not stop with this particular world at that point. So we'll see what goes. Like I said, next time we'll talk about next week's pull list and everything else that we have. We'll get that last issue of Rose. I'm going to be really sad to see that one go, but I'll let you know how it ends. Not how it ends, because I don't want to ruin it for you, but I'll let you know whether it's a really good ending or a really satisfying ending or not. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. If you watched the live show, thank you. If you're watching the recording, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, let everybody know about the new show that we're doing. Come back on Saturday for Saturday Randomness with more Pathfinder Kingmaker. And then Monday, we will have a Monday show. I know I didn't do one this Monday, but we'll get back on Final Fantasy III this next Monday. May have some more streams in there. I'm playing a couple of games that I'm really enjoying. Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm actually surprisingly enjoying it. And then, and I just picked up Insurgency Sandstorm, which I will probably be playing this weekend, and I may stream some of that for you guys too. So watch out for that. And if you do have any questions, hit me up on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, check out my books on Amazon. You can see my latest one on my pinned tweet on Twitter. And you know what? I will see you guys next time. You have a great rest of your week, and much love. See you tomorrow morning.